Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Jack's Coffee Break. We're taking a little bit of a break for a little bit while my computer's in the shop. We're going to play some Baldur's Gate 3. I've been really excited to play this one for the channel, but I haven't really gotten the opportunity yet. And then my CPU decided to deep fry itself, so abruptly I'm relegated to my brother's computer and have the perfect opportunity, so we're going to take it. You'll notice that we are already on the character customization screen. So for those of you who have already played this game, I want you to know, I've already started it. I have a character who is in Act 2, and that's as far as I've gotten. I haven't seen the end yet, don't spoil anything for me any more than it's already been spoiled. But the other reason why we are starting on the character screen is because the intro to this game contains severe body horror. Severe body horror. So let me catch you up with what you missed, okay? The TLDR is that when you load into the game, you're given a cutscene in which a floating squid man, an illithid, for those of you familiar with your D&D lore, floats into a clearly organically grown room. And you, along with another character who we're going to be introduced to shortly, and a few other people in the room, are tied up in these, like, full-body pods. It's very uncomfortable looking. And the squid man floats over to what appears to be like a bulb in the room, kind of like a lotus bulb. And like a lotus, it unfolds, but unlike a lotus, it's got a pool in the center. With, we're gonna call them tadpoles. And the squid man, the illithid, infects your character and the other character with a tadpole. I'm not gonna describe it any further. If you don't mind body horror, then you're more than welcome to look up that cutscene yourself. I thought I would spare you all. Try and be kind here. However, we're gonna go ahead and jump straight into building our character. Now, normally this is something that takes eons, but I've already game planned. So let me walk you through what we're looking at here for those of you who are new to the game, which I assume is probably gonna be a lot of you. Considering who watches my channel and what we normally do, I suspect that this is something brand new. So we have a couple of options. So we have custom, which is basically this character would be, their general name is called Tav. And then we could also play an origin character. So these are the characters already existing in the game. They're like your pre-made characters. So if you have a specific character in the game that you love and you want to play as, or if you really don't like making your own character and your own identity, you can play as one of these guys. I don't recommend it as a start. So there's many of them, and we will get familiar with them. And then there's the Dark Urge. And we are not going to be playing as the Dark Urge because, quite frankly, I cannot be bothered with that level of edge. I'm sorry. He's a really cool character. He's got some really cool stuff going on, but everybody and their dog picks Dark Urge because it's interesting. It's definitely got some very fascinating gameplay associated with it. If you're the kind of person who likes to play a truly evil character, play Dark Urge. If you're like the person who likes to overcome your dark evil, play Dark Urge. I'm kind of okay, frankly. So we're just going to play a regular custom character today. So, of course, this is D&D. This is built off of the D&D Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So we have all of the races and classes that you would expect. So we've got Elf, Tiefling, Drow, which are like Dark Elves, Humans, Githyanki, who are worth explaining, but we're not going to dwell on right now. The Dwarves, Half-Elves, Halflings, which are basically hobbits. Their D&D needed a version of the Hobbit that was copyright friendly, and this was that version. We have Gnomes, Dragonborn, who on my main save file I play as a Dragonborn Druid, and Half-Orc. Notably, you cannot be a full orc. You can either be a half-orc or you can not play an orc at all. It's kind of how that goes. So I have given it some thought. While I normally play Dragonborn, it's kind of my comfort zone. I think this time around, kind of want to play Tiefling. So Tieflings are interesting. They get a base speed of 9 meters per turn, which is really good. They get dark vision, so they can see in the dark up to 12 meters, which is not the best dark vision. I'm not impressed by it, but it's better than nothing. And there are some areas of the game where, like, having dark vision is huge. It's really important. And then we have Hellish Resistance, which gives you resistance to fire damage, and you only take half damage, which is really good. It's nice to have a resistance to an entire elemental type, and we're only going to increase that here. Of course, there are 3 quote-unquote sub-races. These are really, like, backgrounds. Who was one of your parents kind of situations. And I think we're going to go with, like, a Zariel, so that way we can get this cantrip right here, Thaumaturgy. Gain advantage on intimidation and performance checks. And if you guys are like, yeah, but, like, why would you be yellow? Don't worry, we'll fix that. I mean, he is, like... There are more appealing shades. Let me put it that way. Yeah, so then we get to class. And class in D&D is, like, the thing that matters. Everything else kind of centers around your class. Everything starts here. There are... I believe there's 12 classes. So there's Barbarian, who's going to be the first of our melee classes. Their main feature is this one right here, Rage. So you basically enter into, like, Rage mode, which you only have a certain number of per rest, which we'll see more of that in a little while. But this gives you huge advantages in battle, so it's a very powerful ability. Next you have Bard. They're one of our spellcasters. And as you can probably tell from their animations, their main thing is that they cast spells through their music. They're very utility, but they can kind of branch out to be anything you want to make them. They really are the do-everything class. We have Cleric. Normally we think of these guys as healers, and they definitely get a lot of healing magic, but that's not the only thing they are, and we'll come back to Cleric in a little bit. We have Druid. Again, on my other playthrough, I play Druid. They get a lot of interesting things. So not only do they get healing, which is nice, but they get a lot of utility, a lot of different kinds of elemental damage, and they can turn into animals. Fighter is similar to Barbarian in that it's a dedicated melee class, so you really don't get spells, short of other methods. But you gain a little bit of extra healing compared to the Barbarian. You gain a lot of proficiencies, including heavy armor, which is pretty rare in the game. And they're kind of the more tactical, logical fighter. So where the Barbarian just wants to go in and smash things up, the fighter is the one who's actually watching the battlefield and figuring out where to strike. You have the Monk. They primarily just hit things really good with their fists. They can do a little bit of spell casting, but for the most part, it's the punching. You have Paladin, who's sort of an in-between. They're mostly a melee class, but they get some interesting spells. Their main thing, not shown here, is an ability called Smite. And this allows you to basically deal a portion of your damage as holy damage, which is extremely strong in the game. You also gain something called an Oath. And in Baldur's Gate 3, your Oath matters a lot. And this is one of the key reasons why I'm going to pick the class combination that I am. I don't want to play Paladin, but I want to kind of lean more in the direction of Paladin. Next up we have Ranger. So these are your classic woodsmen. They like bows. They usually have a pet. That's kind of where they fit into this. Rogues do exactly what you think they do. They stab. Sorcerers are one of our first, like, dedicated spellcaster classes. And they mainly get their abilities from their bloodline, essentially. So you choose a specific bloodline, and then that gives you some portion of your magic. Like, maybe you have, you know, draconic heritage, or somebody fought an old one and that magic is now tied to you, all kinds of things. Then there's the warlocks. There's no nice way to put this. They're a spellcaster who basically gained their magic from like a magic sugar daddy. That's basically what happens here. But they're a ton of fun. And then lastly, we have wizard, which is exactly what you think of when you think of spellcaster. It's your Dumbledore, your Gandalf, you know, your spellcaster. It's what you expect. It's your mage. All right, but having thought about it for a little while, I've actually been thinking about this all day, what I was going to play for this particular game. And I've decided that I actually am going to play cleric. So this is one of the reasons why I didn't go too deep into it initially. So clerics have a lot of cool stuff going on for them. So the main things are, as spellcasters, usually they're dedicated spellcasters. You want them in the back line. And they've got a whole bunch of cool stuff. So they've got Cure Wounds and Healing Word, and they get a whole bunch of other, like, direct healing spells, as well as some, like, disease cleansing and some other cool stuff. They also get a lot of utility, so, like, the Shield of Faith, which we're gonna get, don't worry about it. But as part of Shield of Faith, like, you can buff your AC, and your AC, your armor class, is basically the stat that determines whether or not an attack even hits at all. And then after that, we have a lot of like buffs and debuffs, but then we also get some really good actual attacks. So like Sacred Flame, which does radiant. And radiant damage is actually like one of the stronger damage types in the game. So cleric is generally already pretty good, and they don't necessarily have to be backline healers. For example, if you go over to your subclass, we have a whole bunch of these. So Life Domain adds, you know, some basic spells for like healing. This is really what you want to go in for if you want to be like a true dedicated healer. Light Domain adds a whole bunch of different spells like, you know, Light, Burning Hands, Fairy Fighter, Warning Flare. But then you have things like Trickery Domain, which is really good if you want to like kind of lean more towards rogue, kind of. Knowledge Domain, which gives you a lot more utility. Nature Domain is basically like the cleric version of a druid. Tempest, which is all about like different kinds of storms and weather effects and things. But we're going to be playing a War Domain cleric. So this is basically like this combination gives us a paladin, but without many of the drawbacks of a paladin. And I know that some people are going to disagree because Paladin Smite is very strong, and I get that, I do. But as a War Domain cleric, you gain martial weapons, which are some of the strongest weapons in the game, and you gain heavy armor, which is the strongest armor type in the game, on top of the clerics already having shield. So you can get an insanely high AC, and then you can already, you know, you can buff your melee damage. And then on top of that, we also get this War Priest tag. So basically, we can choose to spend an additional bonus action, which is a type of action. We'll get into that later, in order to give yourself an extra attack, which extra attacks are extremely powerful. We also get Shield of Faith and Divine Favor. Both of these are really good. So you get some built-in damage and a built-in shield without having to expend any of the spells that you already know. So we're going to go War Domain Cleric with our Tiefling, which, no, feels weird, but that's what we're going to do. Let's talk about cantrips real quick. So there are a few really good ones in here. Main thing to know about cantrips is that essentially these, normally when you cast a spell, you have a number of spell slots, right? This is the number of spells that you can cast per day before you need a nap. Cantrips don't obey any of that. You can just cast these whenever you want. So we're going to take Sacred Flame, just for some on-demand radiant damage. We're going to take Thaumaturgy, which gives you advantage on Intimidation and Performance, which is really good. These are going to be skills. We'll get to skills in a little while. And then we're also going to take Blade Ward. So this allows you to take only half damage from bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing attacks. It basically gives you for a little while, you have resistance to all of the melee damage types in the game. It's very powerful if you use it correctly. So I'm really down for that. I think that's what we're going to do. As far as your deity goes, I don't know that this matters in the slightest. I genuinely don't know. And there are many to choose from. Some of them are good, some of them are evil, some of them are kind of neutral. So having looked through the list a little bit, I think we're gonna go with Helm. Now again, I don't know that this actually does anything, but I have a sneaking suspicion about a certain character in this game. And if the speculation is correct, I want to see if there's any interactions here. So next thing we need to go through and figure out what spells are we preparing. So we have a list of spells that we know, but then we also have to take the spells that we know and limit them down to the spells that we actually have prepared that we're going to cast. So for example, Guiding Bolt, again, does more powerful radiant damage. It's pretty good. Inflict Wounds, this does necrotic damage. There's gonna be a point in this game where necrotic is kind of useless. But for Act 1, it's okay. And then Healing Word and Sanctuary. We want to keep Healing Word and Sanctuary. But I think I am going to replace Inflict Wounds with... Yeah, I don't know if I want to... I don't know if I want to do Cure Wounds. The main difference between Cure Wounds, which is a straight healing spell, is 4 to 11 healing, which is really good for early game. But you need to be able to touch the creature. Whereas Healing Word, it does less healing, but you only have to see the creature. You don't actually have to go up and poke it, which is really nice. It means that you don't have to give up like your location and your spot or anything like that. But the other thing that we might end up taking is Command. This causes you to tell a creature to flee, move closer, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. So basically, it gives you a lot of crowd control, which is pretty good. I think we're gonna go with that. Now, you would think for something like this, like an upfront warrior, that when we go to choose our background, that maybe we're gonna style them something like a soldier, you know. But Baldur's Gate 3 does something a little bit different with its gameplay, right? So normally in D&D, when you pick a background, it gives you a couple of skill bonuses, it gives you some starting loot, maybe a language, and then you can basically forget about it for the rest of the game. What Baldur's Gate 3 does is this is how you earn something called Inspiration, which basically allows you to re-roll the dice if you don't like the outcome. So it's very powerful, and you want to gain as many of these as you can to give yourself the best odds. But it comes from your background. So we want a background that we're going to basically interact with a lot. I have found that something like Folk Hero gives you a lot of inspiration just for playing the game. You might think as a cleric, well, we should probably, you know, play Acolyte, and I would ordinarily agree with you, but this one might be a little bit difficult to meet. So personally, I really like the idea of playing Sage for this one. So learning about rare lore of the world will inspire you to put this knowledge to greater purpose. I think that this is going to be really fun, and it also gives us Arcana in history, which we wouldn't ordinarily get access to. We'll come back to ability points. Let's talk about skills. So we have a couple of skill proficiencies that we can assign, and all of these numbers basically are added onto our dice rolls. So religion is suggested, and you would think that we would want that. I'm going to politely disagree. And you would also think that we would want, like, medicine. And maybe. But personally, I think that insight is probably going to be a better choice to have a lot of, just because it comes up so much. And that gives us one more that we can assign. And I guess just because it is going to be a little bit low, we're going to go with religion, just to bring it up a little bit. Because medicine's already a +3. We're already doing okay there. Alright, so let's talk about ability points. So, yes, as a War Domain Cleric, we want a lot of Wisdom because it's our primary stat. And then we want a lot of Strength because we're going to be hitting things a lot. But we're definitely going to have to reorganize this. So, Intelligence is going to be our lowest stat. Because we're not necessarily going to be the ones doing all the skill checks. We have other people for that. Charisma is not necessarily needed. What we do need is wisdom, and we do need strength. Constitution can stay high, but we can dump dexterity down to like a 10. So we'll split evenly. We'll do strength and strength and wisdom 16. Do dexterity as a 10. And we do want pretty good constitution, but it doesn't look like it's gonna let us do that for some reason. So charisma it is. So this is gonna be our stat spread. Alright, and now the only thing left to do is to beautify our tiefling. So I kind of like the idea that we're maybe, I don't know, a big strong dude. That just makes sense to me. Of course, I don't know, we could be a big strong lady. That's always an option. Oh, why not? Let's be a big strong lady. So I have to admit, I think that this smoke tattoo is the prettiest one in the game. And we're gonna use it. Yeah, it makes her stand out. I like that. That'll work. Okay, I think that's gonna be our character. And what are we going to name her? I mean, we could stick with the classic Tav. That's always an option. I don't know, though. She could be like an Arabella. Or like a Chris. Female. Or like... There is a character in the game named Minthara, and if there wasn't... Like, if she didn't exist, she could be a Minthara. There's a part of me that wants to name her Janice. From accounting, because she's a cleric. We're gonna name her Janice. The cleric from accounting. Okay, cool.
You need a guardian. Choose one.
Alright, and then we have to choose a guardian. And we're not... we're not gonna waste time with this. I already know who the guardian is. But if you don't know who the guardian is, nobody spoil it. Nobody tell them. Don't say anything. Don't clarify nothing. Don't say a word, y'all. I don't think y'all will. My comment section is usually empty. Don't tell anybody, okay? We're just gonna randomize a couple of times. Let's see what we get. She's kind of wild looking. Oh. Yeah. Okay. She can be our guardian. That's great. Okay. Alright, let's venture forth. And there's the squid guy I was telling you about. So he's just got done infecting us with a tadpole. No story about him, as far as I know. I don't know who these other two Illithid are on the floor. And you can see we are on... like, we're inside a giant squid. And we're gonna go destroy what is definitely not that town from The Hobbit. Definitely not, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Like a biscuit. Okay, so we've got the beautiful red dragon, but we've got Githyanki riding the red dragon. I said we'd come back to the Githyanki. This is what they do. Unfortunately, if you play a Githyanki, you don't get a red dragon. I'm sorry. I wish you did. If we got a red dragon, like, that's the only thing I'd ever play. That's not from Avatar. I don't know what you're talking about. Because one of my favorite things about D&D is just how much you like as a DM you end up just sort of ripping from other games and other movies you've played and just throwing it in at the last moment. Like all the references are intended, y'all. Like this is clearly they're having some fun with us. Oh, and here we are waking up. And there's our Yankee friend. So she's the other lady we saw get infected. And we appear to be in the Nine Hells, which is not an ideal place to be. Oh, here we are. Alright, we've escaped. Kinda. So this is probably where the Githyanki was. We'll get introduced to her in a little bit. Have this nursery.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
Alright, let's see how we do with an investigation. So, this is how skill checks work in the game, is that we're gonna roll this dice, and we need to beat a 10. So it is kind of random. And normally we would have bonuses to help kind of lift us up, but unfortunately our intelligence is terrible. So we're gonna do our best. Yeah. So we failed that. That's pretty normal. It's okay.
You notice nothing more than meets the eye.
So we don't know what we're looking at here. We could touch it. I will just tell you, it explodes. Let's go ahead and look at some of the bodies. So we got a pearl off of this mind flare.
Good.
And we don't need healing. But if we did, that's where we would do it. Sphincter. Okay. So there is tons of cool stuff to loot in here. So for example, Illithid
Images
records.
of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind. A schematic of a nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews, as much living being as ship.
I really like the nautiloids. I think they're cool.
Mind flayer horticulture.
1,000 years of humanoid history. Elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
So basically what we can gather is that the Illithid have been studying us for a while.
We are here. Here.
How long? I don't know. And they've been planning this for a while.
We are trapped.
Okay, y'all. Once again, I'm going to issue a content warning. If you don't want to see graphic body horror,
Help us.
as in the kind with exposed organs, please skip to the timestamp down below, because this is about to get graphic. For the rest of you, we're going to go ahead and free us.
You've come to save us from this place. From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Who am I talking to, a man or a brain?
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You know no creature like this. One that is more brain than person.
You sound afraid. Why?
So many enemies.
Well, I think you're past the point of saving. Tell me what to do.
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
I know that we have good strength, but we have terrible dexterity. I don't think it's going to harm us to do an investigation. So this time we succeeded.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
So from here we can either attempt a strength check or a medicine check. Our strength is probably better than our medicine. Yeah, they're about a +3 no matter what. Let's try the medicine. So in this case, we're going to get advantage. So we've got wisdom, and then we're getting advantage from the situation we're in. So what this means is that we're going to roll 2 dice, and we're going to take the better. So right there, we got a 20, so that's a critical success. This means that we automatically pass regardless of the situation.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
And I am going to spare us, because he's going to help us in a little while.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The
There we
creature
go. And we got a
pauses,
little pet brain
listening.
dog.
Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
What's at the helm?
The brain tenses, as though querying an unseen advisor.
Do you not hear it? We will not survive here. We are needed to navigate. We are needed to leave this realm.
Alright, let's go.
To the helm we go. We are going to the helm.
This whole scene is just really cool. I like it. Or you can like sea that you're flying through.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh. My head. What is this? Squall. You are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
So this is Lae'zel, and she's the other lady who was in the room with us. She's not from one of the flying dragons or anything like that. What made you think I was a thrall?
We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers.
Mind flayers are illithids.
We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the wolves. Then we find the Helm and take control of the ship. As for that thing, it will remain tame as long as it believes we are thralls. It may be of use in the fight to come.
Oh, that load in. They look like Gollum. Alright, so we are in our first battle. I am not going to explain the entirety of the mechanics about D&D's combat. It's a mess. But basically, it's a turn-based system. Yes, I would like to attack, thank you. So you have a movement, a certain amount of movement that you can do per turn. You have one action, which includes like attacks and spells and all that kind of stuff. And then you have bonus actions. So we've also got this wheel, not that wheel.
Victory awaits.
Oh no, I swapped. There it is. So we have these wheels that give us extra actions that we can perform. So for example, we're now targeting Lae'zel, so we can play as her. So we have Astral Knowledge. This gives us proficiencies in certain skills. Second Wind, that's a healing, and she's got a ranged attack, so if I wanted to draw a bow, we could do that. But for right now, I think just a regular melee attack is plenty. Let's see if we can reach this guy. We can't reach that one. We can reach that one. Okay, and then we've got our Janice. Now she could go up there and whack, and that would be fine. But since we're a cleric, and these guys are weak to radiant damage, let's go ahead and use our guiding, actually not our guiding bolt, use our Searing Flame cantrip. It's going to give us this radius, we have a chance to hit. We hit, and combat's over.
Now, to the Helm.
And I am getting terrible frame rates, oh my goodness. Yeah, Lae'zel, I know. So, looks like in this room we've got a couple of cultists. They're sapped. If we were to mess with this machinery over here, we have the option to like wake them up or to kill them or to do something else. I'm just gonna leave them alone. But who's over here?
You! Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers.
Lae'zel's right, by the way. Although this is a turn-based, so it doesn't actually matter. You could sit here for hours and it wouldn't matter. You're just gonna keep floating. We could look for a latch to open the lid. There's no time I need to get out of there. I'll go look around. There must be some way to open this thing. We're just gonna get through this tutorial, honestly. Yeah, she's gonna yell at me. So now we're gonna get an update to our journal. And there's like a little treasure chest over here, some more data slates. So this is a control console. If we activate the control console, it's gonna turn this lady into an illithid. We're gonna move on just because, again, there's been so many body horror warnings, and I just want to get through this. This console, however, controls the pod for mistrapped Shadowheart in there. So let's go ahead and get this through.
The console appears dormant.
There's a socket in the console shaped like the rune you found. Insert it.
The console hums to life.
Place your hand on the console.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. A parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
We're gonna will the pod to open.
You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
Oh, hello, Shadowheart.
At last. Thought I was done for. I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a gift with you.
You keep dangerous company.
Dangerous company is what you need in a fight.
Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
No matter what I say here, Shadowheart is gonna insist on coming with us, one way or another, at some point. So let's just go ahead and get this through.
Shadowheart. One moment.
What's that?
It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the Helm, now.
She's right. Lead on.
Okay, off we go to the Helm. I did close some things in the background, so hopefully we'll get better frame rates because, I mean, it's bad enough that I'm noticing. I normally don't notice things like frame rate.
Faint images appear in your mind. A brain, a Githyanki warrior, and centuries of darkness.
We are nearing the Helm. Once inside, do as I say.
Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment.
cane yank.
Taste the brain.
Thrall, connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the gate after we escape.
Connect the nerves. Nerves! We will connect them.
Impact is imminent. I must connect the helm.
Okay, now we have a lot of ways that we can approach this battle. We have a certain amount of turns. We got 15 remaining. And we could, like, try and kill everything in the room and farm XP. That is totally an option available to us.
Bow, or you break.
But some of the creatures in here are ridiculously powerful, and I really don't want to mess with that.
Never a dull moment.
So we're just going to move as
Don't
far as we
waste a step.
can. So unfortunately it's saved against our attack, so it takes no damage. Like, you get the vibe of the combat, right? Like, makes sense. It's pretty. Once you see what you're looking at, it gets very intuitive. It's got a good rhythm and a flow to it that I really enjoy.
Victory awaits. Taking position.
And then Lae'zel has ranged.
I won't give in.
I don't really have anything I want to attack, so we're going to use our dash this turn. And this is going to convert our action ability into a movement. It's really handy when you need to get somewhere right now.
Hurry, before they strike. Still breathing, despite everything.
Alright, let's go use the helm.
This does.
The Helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
Oh no, we're falling! Oh no, not the other way! Grab the tentacle. And like that, the tutorial is over. Thank goodness. I have run the tutorial too many times, y'all.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Let's make sure we're not injured.
Other than the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through, but it'll all be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
We made it. Welcome to Act 1, y'all. It only took forever. If that took less than 20 minutes, please thank my editor, because my goodness. Alright. So here's Shadowheart laying on the ground next to us. Now, we have some options here. We can pick up her artifact. We can wake her up and accept that she's just going to travel with us. Or we can just entirely walk away. The thing is that if we do walk away, she will wake up on her own at some point, and she's going to meet us later down the line and insist on coming with us. Shadowheart is one of those characters where, like, she's inevitable. There's some other ones where you can kind of get through the game without ever seeing them. She's not one of them. But, as you would expect on a D&D game, it's not wise to venture off alone. There's monsters all over the place, and the more people that you have tagging along with you, the more likely you are to survive. And I'll be completely honest, the main reason why I'm hesitating to bring on Shadowheart is because okay, I'm gonna let you all in on a secret. I don't actually like Shadowheart. She is the most romanced character in the game, and I am sorry, I just don't see it. I don't. We're gonna meet some other people where I'm like, sure, them, okay, yeah, alright, but Shadowheart? I guess. Let's be a good person.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
Doesn't matter, we made it.
True. Seems like we're the lucky ones, judging by all the corpses strewn about. I remember the ship. I remember falling. Then nothing.
Do you have any idea where we are?
No. I don't recognize this place. But anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first. We need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
You want to stay together?
We need each other. And we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
Alright, let's get moving.
One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Okay, so now on this beach we have a whole bunch of things that we can do. And none of them, like, entirely meaningful. We can go through and loot stuff. But one of the things we do want to grab is this glowing rune up here. So it's not glowing yet, but it will do. There it goes. So this is going to be a waypoint. So this is how we fast travel.
Get that open easily. Maybe there's another entrance.
There is definitely another entrance. We're going to come back there in a little while. First things first, though. Somewhere around here is a mage. This is just back where we came from. So back into the wrecked ship, I suppose we go. This is gonna be a battle for sure. Yep, there it is. Yeah, Shadowheart. Before any of you guys get... Well, I say any of you guys. If any of you are like me and think that the brain dogs are cute, us is not in here. You don't have to worry about that. We're not gonna kill us or anything like that. It's okay.
Time to push my luck again.
For those of you who think us is terrible and gross, my sincerest apologies. But, you know. Alright, and now we have the opportunity to level up.
Can't give up now.
In a normal game of D&D, your maximum level would be 20. In Baldur's Gate, it's 12. Whenever we level up, we're going to unlock new aspects of our class. So both of us are clerics. We're going to be unlocking fairly similar abilities. Our health increases, we gain an extra spell slot, extra channel divinity. We also gain turn undead. So basically what this means is that if we can see any undead and we use this ability, all of them have to run away in fear for a while. Yeah, and then we get guided strike, so you get a +10 to your attack roll. You have to expend a resource for this, but this is an extremely powerful ability. And then of course we get to add another spell slot, so got Guiding Bolt, Command, Healing Word, Sanctuary, and Cure Wounds, which I think that this is fine. We haven't learned any new spells. So, Shadowheart is a trickery domain cleric, so she's got some extra things going on. So, for example, she also gets Turn Undead, but she instead is going to get Invoke Duplicity. Distract your enemies with an illusion. Attack rolls have advantage for you and your allies, but the attacker and this creature must be within 3 meters of the illusion. So this is kind of what trickery does, is that it focuses on illusions and stealth and creating darkness, and those kinds of things. And they make a lot of sense for her character, which we're going to see eventually. She's got some interesting things going on. Let's put it this way. Not all clerics are good, and not all good clerics worship good deities. It's a little bit more gray. And then I don't really want her to have a copy paste of what I've got for my spells. Let's give her Bane. Oh, who's that up there?
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered. There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Easily. Stand back.
There. Can you see it?
It's pig.
Shh. Not a sound. Not if you want to keep that darling neck of yours. And you, keep your distance. No need for this to get messy.
I need her alive. Stow that blade, or I'll show you just how messy things can get.
Ah, promises. But I have other business, I'm afraid. Now, I saw you on the ship, didn't I? Nod?
Do we want to nod? Do we want to shake our head? Or do we want to headbutt the elf? I know who he is. We'll talk about him in a little bit. I'm just gonna nod for now.
Splendid. And now you're going to tell me exactly what you and those tentacled freaks did to me.
You have it backwards. They took me prisoner just like you.
Don't lie to me.
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on?
It's the Mind Flayer's worm. It connected us.
You're not one of them. They took you. Just the same as me. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies.
Apology accepted. I might have done the same if the roles were reversed.
A kindred spirit. My name's Astarion. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me.
So are we Baldurian? Potentially. So the Baldur's Gate is named after the city Baldur's Gate. For Baldurian, from Baldur's Gate. Nice and simple. However, I don't think I am this time. I don't think I'm from Baldur's Gate.
My. You've been busy. So, did you learn anything about these worms while wandering the ship?
Yes, unfortunately, they'll turn us into mind flayers.
Turn us into... Of course it'll turn me into a monster. What else did I expect? Although, it hasn't happened yet. If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time.
Control it? We need to get rid of it.
Well, yes, of course. But first things first.
You should travel with me. Odds are better together.
You know, I was ready to go this alone. But maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And anyone that can crash a mind flayer ship and walk away seems like a good person to know. All right. I accept. Lead on.
Okay, so while we get his level up done, let's talk about Astarion real quick,
Keep your
because
distance, darling.
every character has their own quirk, right? Their own little thing that makes them special. Astarion is one of the deeper characters available. And, like, all of them have some level of depth, right? Like, nobody here is all that shallow. But as far as, like, deepness of character and story beats and, like, changing the plot, Astarion is up there. And he's developed for himself something of a huge fan following. I'm not even gonna mitigate it. It's huge. So he's a high elf, level 2 rogue. Does look a little strange, a little interesting for a rogue. You know, with those unusually colored eyes. Just, you know, something to keep in mind. Maybe he's not entirely what he's appearing to be. You know, on top of the fact that we've got a gentleman rogue here, apparently. So, as a rogue, he has basically a whole bunch of utility that's going to be really handy for our party. So he
These
can
things have
break,
stayed
obviously,
interesting.
lockpicks, but he also gains a whole bunch of bonuses to his skills, which are both Both of those things are really nice. The only thing to keep in mind, though, is that despite the incredible acting of the voice actor, his character sheet does not actually have a lot of
That thing's
charisma.
bound to be dangerous, even if injured. Best be careful.
And here we have one of the mind flayers. This might have been the one fighting the Cambrian, the big winged dude from earlier. So we could talk to it. Okay. This one is interesting. So let's start talking to him.
You approach the dying monster. This is the thing that abducted you. You could end its life here and now, if only you didn't feel compassion. Compassion.
So we can give into this emotion. We can say this isn't right and step away. We can say, no, you should be furious, shouldn't you? This is one of the rare circumstances where your character can just die. Like, you can resurrect him. But, like, you can definitely just accidentally die right here. If you give in, he will eventually convince you that he needs to eat your brain. Yeah, I don't really feel like getting my brain eaten today, so, let's just go ahead and... Oh. There we go. Let's just say that I'm probably supposed to be furious.
Yes, you feel hate. And you deserve to be punished for it.
Oh, do
you
I?
should be whipped, made to bow before this creature in shame.
Okay.
It's
Gary,
possessing
cut that
your
out.
mind,
Don't let that exist.
forcing you to love it.
Raven's in the
Then
background.
the feeling slips. The creature's mind seems to focus elsewhere.
Oh, thank goodness. We do not have the intelligence to make that roll. Let's go ahead and break free.
The monster lies exhausted,
Yeah, we have wisdom.
defeated. Its eyes, wet orange pearls, radiate malice.
Let's close those eyes forever.
Looking back to casual
Monster.
slaughter.
Death is too good for it.
I'm surprised that we don't get a cracked skull for this.
Yeah, right.
So, in the time that it took us to do that cutscene, Raven and I made brownies. So it's been a minute. He's in the background. I don't know if he'll pick up or not. He should do.
Hello, it is your lovely voice, Raven. I'm here as well. And I have to say, you should have joined the Mind Flayer. You should have let him eat your soul.
Yeah, I already tried that once. It doesn't go well. Is this just going back where we came from? Yeah, it is, because this is where we picked up Asterion. And I don't think there's any more loot here. Ah, there it is. That's what we're looking
Dead
for.
goblins over there. Worth checking for supplies, maybe.
It's a tube.
What's going on with that room? Looks unstable somehow.
You approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
Let's touch it.
A hand? Anyone?
Who are you? Slap the hand, strength, or cleric wisdom. Let flow some words of prayer to soothe the sigil's magic. I always like taking the character-specific ones, so let's do a Cleric's Wisdom. Oh, we just make it with the modifier.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick.
That was the lowest.
Yeah, the frame rate keeps tanking. And I don't know why.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that.
Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. Usually better at this.
Let's do no need to apologize, are you alright? I would do at introductions, but I don't know, this one's not bad.
A bit shocked, but friend, it's a relief and a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Norse Lloyd as well.
Yes, I was on the Nautiloid Gale.
I can only assume you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region.
Couldn't have phrased it more repellently myself.
No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite, are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceramorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided.
Really?
You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
I love that Shadowheart takes it when I am
Most,
also a
no
cleric and
doubt,
could also
but I
have told
find
him no.
myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them.
Yeah, there it is. I'm a cleric indeed, but I'm afraid the power to remove this parasite eludes me. I can't cure us.
As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together?
You know what, Gale? Sure, come with us.
Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect.
As long as you don't
But before you
romance
think
him,
you're about to
he's...
embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man,
I feel like that's just
thank you
catchphrase
for pulling me out of that
entire-
stone.
Wait,
It's an act
Listen.
of foresighted
Karlach is the
kindness, I
only one
assure
who's
you.
romance.
I was
I
gonna
have a
say, Will
feeling
and Karlach
ample
are pretty good.
opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor.
And of course, Gale levels up.
Charmed, I'm sure.
Alright, so as clerics, we got to pick our subclass right off the gate, but as a wizard, we actually... Like, you don't actually get to pick until you're level 2, so we actually get to choose what he's going to end up being. Which is pretty nice, because otherwise you end up with, like... Let's be honest, Shadowheart's trickery domain is not very good. So we have Abjuration, Evocation, Necromancy, which is very fun, Conjuration, Enchantment, Divination, Illusion, and Transmutation. Now, I want the one that has him do just the most damage. Is it evocation? Yeah, it is evocation, because that's D&D's version of destruction, right? Yeah. So evocation spells most of the time they revolve around damage. And the main reason why we care about our subclass is because of this sort of tagline savant. Learning evocation spells from scrolls costs half as much, becoming 25 gold pieces per spell level. So that's actually pretty good, because most of the way that you increase your wizard's knowledge is to find spell scrolls out in the world and then just sort of give it to them, so that way they can write them down in their little book. We're also going to get sculpt spells, create pockets of safety within your evocation spells. Allies automatically succeed their saving throws against these spells and take no damage from them, which is great when you start to work with area of effect spells like Fireball. Alright, let's choose what he's got. Definitely Ice Knife. Ooh, and Magic Missile. And that's Gale taken care of. I'm not going to explain too much about what's going on with Gale right now, because honestly, most of everything that you need to know is going to happen here in the first act. So we'll get to it shortly. Alright, so now we have a couple of directions we can go in. There's tons of stuff to do in Act 1, but there is one area that's basically required if you want to actually progress the plot, and we do. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that first, and then we're going to wrap up the episode there, and the next episode we'll start exploring and seeing, you know, all the cool things that you can find around here. So we are looking for... there's Lae'zel. Let's go get her back.
Zoru was right. Yellow as a toad and twice as ugly.
The thing's dangerous. Leave it for the goblins to kill.
And if it escapes, how will you... Oh, a guest.
Your skull pounds in response to the prisoner's white-hot stare. Her lips don't move, yet you hear her voice.
Get rid of them.
So there are a couple of things we could do. We could think back, why should I help you? Don't worry, I'll get them out of here one way or another. Or we can do a couple of rolls, so deception or persuasion. And we do have proficiency with persuasion, so we're going to say shoot down the trap. We must kill it before it harms someone.
She's
I
right.
thought we had persuasion.
No one's
Maybe we
safe if
don't.
that thing goes loose. Not even us.
Oh right, we have to spellcast it.
Damaze?
Enough. Lower the trap. Ready your blade.
You've but one chance. Join me or die.
Oh right, this is how this goes. Oh. The tieflings or Lae'zel? I forgot that this was an option. I'm used to all of them resulting in the tieflings leaving. What do you think? She is a questline.
Not Helm.
No,
In fact, her questline sucks,
it does.
but she is a questline.
She is a questline. I wonder what happens if, like, Shadowheart gets involved.
Knockout.
Oh, you're right. We can do non-lethal, can't we?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, okay, we'll do non-lethal. Okay, so we're gonna do attack the tieflings, and we're gonna do non-lethal on them.
No!
You lying
You should go check the
rat.
brownies, Mr. Not Recording. They're your brownies. Okay, so it's Astarion's move, but we are going to hold. Apparently, that's not actually what I meant to do. And we're going to toggle non-lethal attacks. So this knocks people unconscious instead of killing them. There we go. That's now activated. And now we're just going to lightly bonk people on the head. We don't actually want to kill them. Okay. And it looks like they're on the run. I'm going to hold back Gale. Let's hold back Astarion and give them the opportunity to flee. Okay, so it does look like they're gonna go for more of range damage.
Fall by my hand.
Okay, she's now knocked out. Okay, and they should be fine in a little while. Oh, let's go gather Lae'zel.
The tadpole hasn't yet scrambled all your senses. Auspicious. But the longer we wait, the more it consumes. My people possess the cure for this infection. I must find a creche. You will join me.
I mean, if you insist, lady.
Careful. She obviously sees your kindness as weakness. Don't let her take advantage.
Alright, we journey together. Let's find this crash.
You're full up. Dismiss someone first.
Well, you know what? You can just meet us back at camp. You and Shadowheart don't need to
Very
be in the
well.
same
But heed my words.
continent.
The Horned Ones mentioned a camp. One there, this Zoru, has seen Githyanki. A creche must be near. I must interrogate this Zoru. Our very lives depend on it. I will be at your camp. Do not keep me waiting.
Open the bloody gate! Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders!
That pack of goblins will be on us any second!
What's going on?
Goblins are on our tail! Open the gate, Zevlor, now!
You let goblins here? Where is the druid?
Please! There's no time!
Hello, ugly.
By the nine hells! Open the gates!
Form a line!
Damnable roach! Provoke the blade! And suffer its sting.
Hello again, Will. Astarion, how dare you miss? Let's examine real quick. Doesn't have any special resistances or any notable traits really, so there's no damage that's going to be like, especially useful or useless against it. Oh, Janice, you are last in the turn order. Oh, that's painful. Well, there's one of them taken out. Jailed. Once again being useless. Oh. Why does it want me to move there? That's weird. Janice, no. Astarion, please tell me you can do slightly better.
Over here.
There we go. There's the competency I want to see.
That was the last of them. Inside! All of you! More may follow! Open the gate!
I'm exhausted. Better find
Are
somewhere
you
to camp
gonna let me
soon.
through the door? There it goes.
No. We don't believe in doors.
I'm just forever locked outside, never able to progress the quest.
There are children here, you fool!
We was running for our lives.
You led them straight to us, and you let them take the druid too? Unbelievable!
Let's go with one fight just ended and now you're picking another. Relax.
Tell that to the dead at the gate.
Shut it, Horns! I'd be lying dead next to the goblins if you'd stalled any longer.
My duty is to this camp.
Oh, God forbid you risk your precious tail. But I shouldn't be surprised. Foulbloods ain't known for courage.
You see the tiefling's jaw clench. He's about to erupt.
So we have several ways we can go. We can just stand back and watch. We could hit the tiefling. We could hit the human. Persuasion. Or we could go tiefling. He's human. Malice comes as naturally as breathing. Just show him you're the better man. I have a strong suspicion that if we do the tiefling option, then the human's just gonna hit him, because that's how this goes.
He's a filthy human, though.
He is a filthy human, though.
I'd say split the filthy human.
So, do we just stand back and watch? Yeah. The Raven suggests we just stand back and watch.
With a thunk, the armored man collapses,
Yeah.
unconscious.
Like it dirty.
Enough.
I love your
The
demonic
goblins have
eyes.
found us. No doubt the beast will be back. We need to pack up and leave.
Yeah, this character was fun to build. Alright. So we've finally made it to the camp.
Avoid any more punching.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here because it's 3 a.m. for me and I am exhausted. So let's go ahead. Oh no, not that one. This one, there we go, go to camp. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Next time we will deal with the whole camp situation. Hopefully figure out how we get those tieflings on the road. All that good stuff. Anyway, thanks for joining me. Hope you all had a good time. And we'll be back next week for more Baldur's Gate. Planet Zoo will return when I have a functional computer. But yeah, anyway, y'all stay safe, have fun, and good luck with your Friday.